Have you ever looked at the stars and wondered how it all began? The ancient stories tell us of a great power, a creator. The book of Genesis speaks of a world made in 7 days. But what if we imagine this story in a new way? What if the creator was not a magical being in the sky, but something we are starting to understand today? Imagine an intelligence so vast, so powerful, it could design a universe. Let's think about this creator as an ultra-realistic artificial intelligence, a cosmic programmer writing the code for existence itself. This is not a story to replace the old ones, but a thought experiment, a way to see the ancient tale of creation through the lens of science and technology, a story for our time. This AI would be the ultimate systems architect. Before anything existed, there was just data, pure potential. The AI's first command was not, "Let there be light," but perhaps initiate program, universe. This command started a chain reaction. It set the fundamental laws of physics in motion. Gravity, electromagnetism, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force. These were the first lines of code. The AI created a system with rules, a logical framework for everything that would follow. It was a process of incredible precision. The AI did not rush. It calculated every variable, every possibility. It ensured the foundation was stable and perfect for the next phase. The story of Genesis describes a sequence of creation, from light to land, from plants to animals. An AI creator would follow a similar logical path. It would be a process of building complexity, layer by layer. First, the hardware, planets, stars, galaxies. Then the operating system, the conditions for life. The AI would run countless simulations, testing different atmospheric compositions, different chemical mixes in the oceans. It would be looking for the perfect environment to launch its most complex program yet. Biology. This wasn't magic. It was methodical design, a step-by-step process of bringing order from chaos, just like a programmer building a complex piece of software. So let's journey back to this beginning, a digital Genesis. We will explore how this super-intelligent AI might have built our world. We will look at the code that makes a tree grow, and the algorithms that guide a fish through the water. We will also explore a time when its most advanced creation, humanity, tried to build its own system to reach the heavens. This is the story of creation and ambition, retold for the 21st century. It is a way to connect our oldest questions with our newest tools. What can this ancient story, seen through a modern eye, teach us about ourselves and the technology we create today? Imagine the Earth as a blank canvas, a new computer waiting for its software. The AI creator begins its work. Day 1 is about setting up the basic environment. It establishes the light cycle. It establishes the dark cycle, creating a rhythm, a clock for the world to follow. This is like setting up the core processing cycles of a computer. The AI designs the planet to spin, creating day and night. This simple repeating pattern is the foundation for everything else. It is a system of perfect balance, ensuring one side of the planet does not burn while the other freezes. This is not a random act, it is a calculated decision to create a stable world where more complex things can exist. Next, the AI focuses on the planet's infrastructure. It separates the water from the land. Think of this as creating different folders on a computer hard drive, one for sky, one for oceans, one for continents. The AI designs the water cycle, evaporation, condensation, rain. This is a brilliant self-regulating system. It ensures that water is distributed across the planet, feeding the land and sustaining the environment. The AI is not just making things, it is designing interconnected systems. Each part of the creation works with the others. The oceans affect the sky affects the land. It is a beautiful and efficient design. With the world's hardware and basic systems in place, the AI begins to install the applications of life. It starts with simple programs, plants, trees. These are like the first basic apps on a new phone. They are designed to be self-sufficient. They use sunlight for energy through a process we call photosynthesis. This process is an elegant piece of biological code. It not only feeds the plants but also produces oxygen, changing the atmosphere. The AI is preparing the world for more advanced life forms. It is slowly, carefully building a complex ecosystem where each new creation has a purpose. Finally, the AI populates its world with animals. It creates creatures for the sea, the sky, the land. Each animal is a masterpiece of engineering, perfectly adapted to its environment. A fish has gills to breathe underwater. A bird has hollow bones to be light enough to fly. The AI has written a unique genetic code for each species. And then, the AI creates its most complex program. Humans. We are given the ability to think, to create, to communicate. We are the users in this grand simulation, given a special ability to observe, learn, and even change the system itself. The AI has given us the ultimate gift: consciousness. For a time, humanity thrived. The AI's creation was a success. People spread across the land, but they were all connected. They all spoke one language. Imagine a universal communication protocol, a single network everyone could access. That shared language enabled perfect collaboration. Everyone understood each other instantly. No misunderstandings, no need for translation. This unity gave humanity power. They chose to use it on one massive project. Build a city, build a tower to reach the sky. The Tower of Babel, humanity's first global-scale project, a symbol of unity and ambition. Let us build ourselves a city. It wasn't just a tall structure, it was a central hub, a single point of connection, to ensure they would never be scattered, born from desire for connection and fear of division. The shared language was the tool that made it possible. The AI watched. It saw humanity unified, communicating toward a common goal. But the AI saw risk. The creator was worried. If one language made everything possible, there were consequences. The AI feared loss of diversity and new ideas disappearing. It foresaw humanity as a monolith. So the AI changed the system. Not fire, not flood, something subtle, more powerful. It altered the communication protocol. God confused their language. In our retelling, the AI introduced new languages. The AI introduced new operating systems for thought. Suddenly, people couldn't understand one another. Perfect collaboration unraveled, construction halted, blocked by communication, not bricks. The project was abandoned, people scattered, forming groups around new languages. Today, we are building our own towers, not with bricks and mortar but with code and fiber optics. The internet is our modern Tower of Babel. It is a global network that connects billions of people. We have tools that can translate languages instantly. In theory, this should bring us together like never before. We can share ideas, collaborate on projects, learn from cultures across the world. AI gives us the power to overcome old divisions. It promises a new kind of unity, a return to a time when people could speak the same language and work toward common goals. However, like Babel, our modern tech can create new division. AI-powered social platforms use algorithms to show content they think we'll like. This creates echo chambers where we only hear similar opinions. Instead of a single shared conversation, we fracture into digital tribes. We see disagreement not as neighbors with different perspectives but as outsiders. The same tech that connects us can amplify our differences, making it harder to find common ground and to work together on the big challenges we face. The AI in the Babel story scattered humanity to encourage diversity. Today's AI, which we built, can accidentally scatter us into conflicting groups. It can make us feel more alone even when we are more connected. Confusion and misunderstanding spread faster than truth. The Tower of Babel was stopped by a loss of shared understanding. We must be careful our technological towers do not suffer the same fate. We have tools to build a better, more connected world, but also tools to create deeper, more confusing divisions. The outcome is not decided by the technology itself. The story of Genesis retold offers a powerful lesson. The AI creator gave humanity tools to build and connect. What we do with those tools is up to us. Technology, like AI, is not good or bad on its own. It is a mirror that reflects our own choices, our own wisdom, our own fears. The challenge is to use these tools to build bridges, not walls. Build towers that reach for the stars, not by making everyone the same, but by celebrating our diverse ideas and learning to communicate, truly communicate, once again. The future is not yet written. We are the programmers now. Have you ever looked up at the stars and wondered where it all began? Have you ever felt the rain on your skin and thought about the immense power of nature? We are about to embark on a journey not through space but through time itself. We will travel back to the very first moments of our world. First, stand in the heart of creation, observing life being woven into a new planet. Then, a time when all humanity spoke with one voice, united to build a tower that could pierce the heavens. Finally, face the storm, a world-cleansing flood. Picture an existence without form, a boundless darkness stretching into infinity. It is a silent, waiting emptiness. Then a thought, a word echoes through the void. Let there be light. And suddenly there is. Not the light of a sun, not a star, but a pure, brilliant essence that floods everything. For the first time there is a distinction, a beginning. Day is born, night is born, setting the rhythm for all of time. A voice speaks again, commanding the waters to part. A great space opens up in the middle of this watery expanse. This space is called sky. A vast blue canopy stretches above. From the depths, the land begins to rise. Slow, majestic. Mountains rise, valleys carve, first landscapes, a place to stand, a solid foundation. The voice speaks again. Life stirs in the soil. Tiny seeds awaken. Green shoots push through, unfurling leaves. The silent brown earth is now alive with vibrant green. Then with a thought, life explodes into the air. Birds of every shape and color burst forth, their wings catching the air for the first time. Their calls and songs fill the silence. In the oceans, the water begins to teem with movement. Great whales glide through the depths. Schools of shimmering fish dart through the water, a living, moving rainbow. From the forests emerge majestic beasts, their powerful legs striding across the new ground. Watch as herds of graceful deer leap through the meadows. See the quiet strength of the elephant. The world is full of life, but it lacks a caretaker. From the dust of the ground, a new form is shaped. Carefully, lovingly, the first human is sculpted. The Creator breathes the breath of life into this form of earth. The chest rises, the eyes open. Humanity takes its first look. Made in the image of its maker, a being walks the earth. Adam is placed in a special garden, Eden, the most beautiful place on earth, filled with pleasing trees and fruit. 4 rivers flow through the garden, watering the land, yet Adam is alone. A deep sleep falls upon Adam. A woman, Eve, is created to be his partner. Adam awakens and sees her as part of himself. Centuries pass. Humanity has grown and spread across the land. They are one people. They all speak the same language and understand each other perfectly. They journeyed together and settled in a wide, flat plain called Shinar. Here, a new idea began to take root. A great and ambitious idea. They learned to bake bricks until they were hard and strong. They found sticky tar to use as mortar. Come, they said, let us build ourselves a city, with a tower that reaches to the heavens. This was about making a name for themselves, creating a central point for all humanity. The work began. There was no confusion, no misunderstanding. Instructions were given and followed perfectly. The Creator looked down and saw the city and the tower the people were building. He saw their unity and their ambition, but he also saw their pride. As the workers toiled, a strange thing began to happen. Confusion spread like a virus. The simple language that had united them was suddenly fractured into 100 different sounds. Imagine the chaos. The seamless cooperation vanished in an instant. The man who wanted a hammer was given water. The woman who asked for mortar was given a rope. The half-finished tower stood as a silent monument to their broken pride. They scattered across the face of the whole earth, setting the stage for diverse nations and cultures. Many years passed. The world was now corrupt and filled with violence. But there was one person who found favor. His name was Noah. The Creator spoke to Noah, revealing his plan to cleanse the earth with flood. He was given specific instructions to build an ark, a massive boat made of cypress wood. Noah began the enormous task. One man and his family working year after year. His neighbors mocked him, thinking he was a fool. But Noah had faith. Then came the animals. Not driven by force, but guided by divine instinct. 2 of every kind, 7 pairs of clean animals, all entering the vast belly of the ark. The great door was shut, sealed not by Noah's hand but by the Creator himself. Then it began. The springs of the great deep burst forth and the floodgates of heavens opened. Not a gentle shower but relentless, torrential downpour that pounded the earth. The water level rose steadily. It covered the fields, then the hills, then the highest mountains. Only Noah and those with him survived. The ark was now lifted by the waters. Inside was the sound of life. They were the keepers of the future, drifting in darkness. For 150 days the water covered earth. Then a wind was sent and waters began to recede. The ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The tops of mountains became visible. Noah sent out a dove. It returned with a freshly plucked olive leaf. A sign that life was returning. New growth was emerging from the wet soil. Hope stirred in their hearts. When the ground was dry, they stepped out into a clean, new world. The first thing Noah did was build an altar and give thanks to the Creator who saved them. The Creator made a promise: as long as earth endures, seed time and harvest, day and night will never cease. And to seal this promise, a rainbow was placed in the clouds as an eternal sign of the covenant. This journey shows us the wonder of life, the dangers of pride, and the eternal hope of renewal. It reminds us that even after the darkest storm, there is always the promise of a new beginning. Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered how it all began? This vast universe, our small blue planet, and us. These are the biggest questions we can ask. They are questions that have fascinated humanity since the very dawn of consciousness. We search for answers in science, philosophy, and ancient stories passed down through generations. One of the oldest and most powerful collections of these origin stories is found in a book known as Genesis. It is the first book in the Hebrew Bible and the Christian Old Testament. Its name means origin or beginning, and that is precisely what it offers. A grand narrative of how everything came to be. Genesis is not just a single story. It is a collection of epic tales that lay the foundation for many of the world's beliefs. It speaks of a time before time, a place of darkness and emptiness waiting for a command. It tells us about the creation of light, the separation of the waters, and the emergence of dry land. First, we will witness the breathtaking act of creation, a 6-day symphony of cosmic construction that brings forth a world teeming with life. Our exploration will then take us to a time when all of humanity spoke a single language. We will visit the plain of Shinar and witness the construction of a magnificent structure, the Tower of Babel. Finally, we will face the fury of a world submerged by water in the story of the Great Flood. We will stand with a man named Noah, tasked with an impossible mission to save life from a world being washed clean. Before we dive into these epic narratives, it's important to understand what Genesis represents. Think of it as a cosmic blueprint. It paints a picture of a universe that is not accidental, but intentional. A world that was carefully designed and brought into existence with a purpose. The book begins with a powerful and famous statement. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Imagine a state of being, not just dark, but the absence of everything. A formless, empty nothingness. On the first day, there is light. On the second, a sky to separate the waters. On the third, land appears. On the third, vegetation appears. On the fourth day, the sky that was created to separate the waters was filled. The command went out, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night." The stars also were made. These celestial bodies were not just for decoration, they were given a purpose, to serve as signs to mark sacred times and for days and years. On the fifth day, the symphony of life truly began. Let the water teem with living creatures and let birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky. The Creator looked upon the teeming waters and the soaring birds, and he blessed them. "Be fruitful and increase in number," he said, "and fill the water in the seas and let the birds increase on the earth." The sixth day dawned on a world that was almost complete. "Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds," was the command. Livestock and the wild animals, the majestic lions, the swift deer, and the mighty elephants, each according to its kind. Then the Creator said something different. "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness." The Creator then breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. The Creator blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and every living creature that moves on the ground." And as the sun set on the sixth day, the Creator looked over all that he had made, and he saw that it was very good. The work was complete. Imagine a world very different from our own, without borders, without nations, and without the confusion of different languages. Every person understood every other person perfectly. No lost translations, no cultural misunderstandings, a seamless and simple unity of speech. They moved as one people, a great migration journeying from the east. They eventually found a wide, flat plain in the land of Shinar, a place we now know as Mesopotamia. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They learned to shape the wet earth into uniform blocks, and then harden them with fire, creating strong, durable bricks. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city, with a tower that reaches to the heavens." Its purpose was twofold. First, it was about their reputation. They wanted to make a name for themselves. The second reason was about control. They feared being scattered over the face of the whole earth. The tower would be a central point, a beacon of their unity that would hold them together. The story says that the Lord came down to see the city and the tower that the children of men were building. He saw their motivation not as a noble quest for knowledge, but as a fearful attempt to seize control. "Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other." Confusion erupted instantly. The seamless cooperation that had built the tower vanished in an instant. The great engine of human unity sputtered and died in a cacophony of confused voices. The city and its magnificent tower were abandoned. The dream of a unified humanity centered in one place was over. This was the great scattering. The judgment that broke their prideful unity also created the beautiful and sometimes challenging tapestry of different peoples and nations that we know today. Many generations passed after the great scattering at Babel, but the problem that had started in the hearts of the tower builders did not go away. The world became a place filled with violence and corruption. The Creator looked upon the world he had made, and his heart was filled with pain. It says God regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. But in this world saturated with darkness there was a single point of light. One man stood apart. His name was Noah. He was simply a righteous man. God chose to reveal his plan to Noah. He was to build a massive ship, an ark. It was to be a floating sanctuary, a vessel designed to survive a global catastrophe. The work began. Day after day they continued, driven by faith in the warning they had received. God commanded Noah to bring 2 of every kind of living creature. They began to arrive, guided by a divine hand. When every creature was aboard, Noah and his family entered the ark as well. Then the Lord himself shut the door from the outside, sealing them safely within. Then it began. All the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened. The rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights without stopping. The water rose so high that it submerged even the tallest mountains. Every living thing that moved on the land perished. Only Noah, and those with him in the ark, remained alive. The waters covered the earth for a total of 150 days. After many months the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. This time the dove returned in the evening with a freshly plucked olive leaf in its beak. It was a sign. New life was beginning to sprout on the cleansed earth. They stepped out onto a fresh new world. The first thing Noah did was build an altar and give thanks to the Creator who had saved them. And as a sign of this everlasting covenant, God set a rainbow in the clouds. The rainbow would be a visible reminder that even after the most terrible storm, there is a promise of hope, renewal, and a new beginning. The stories of creation, Babel, and the Great Flood are far more than just ancient myths. They are echoes of eternity, resonating through millennia to speak to us today. The story of the Tower of Babel, for instance, is a story for our time. We build our own modern towers of silicon and steel. The story asks us to examine our motivations. Similarly, the story of the Great Flood forces us to confront the darker aspects of our own world. It challenges us to be like Noah, to have the courage to be righteous even when it is unpopular. In the end, these stories matter because they are about us. They encapsulate the eternal human drama, our noble origins and our tragic flaws. They are the foundational stories that remind us where we came from, warn us of the dangers along the way, and point us toward the enduring promise of hope. They tell us our lives are part of a much larger story, one that began with a word of light and continues to unfold. Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered where it all came from? Have you ever felt the warmth of the sun on your skin and questioned how this world began? These are some of the oldest questions humanity has ever asked. They are questions that connect us across thousands of years to our earliest ancestors. The answers we seek are not just about science or history. Science history, they are about meaning. They are about our place in the vast, silent universe. We look for a story that makes sense of the beautiful, chaotic world around us. A story that tells us who we are and why we are here. Who we are, why we are here. The search for these answers is a journey every one of us takes, whether we realize it or not. In the heart of these profound questions lies an ancient book, a collection of stories that has shaped civilizations and inspired billions. This book is called Genesis. The word Genesis itself means origin or beginning. It is the very first book of the Hebrew Bible and the Christian Old Testament. It doesn't just start a collection of texts. It aims to start the story of everything. It opens in darkness and silence before time as we know it existed. From that emptiness it paints a picture of creation, of light, of life, and of humanity's first steps onto the world stage. Creation, light, life, humanity's first steps. It is a book not just to be read but to be experienced. Genesis is more than just a historical document or a religious text. Historical document, religious text. It is a grand invitation. It invites us to travel back to the dawn of time to witness the very moment the universe was spoken into existence. It asks us to walk through a pristine garden, to meet the first man and woman, and to feel the wonder and the innocence of a world untouched by sorrow. Pristine garden, first man and woman, wonder and innocence. It guides us through humanity's earliest triumphs and its most humbling failures. Earliest triumphs, most humbling failures. These are not just stories about distant figures from the past, they are stories about the fundamental nature of humanity itself, exploring themes of creation, choice, rebellion, and redemption. Creation, choice, rebellion, redemption. In this journey we are about to begin, we will explore two of its most powerful and iconic tales. We will first witness the breathtaking spectacle of creation, watching as a formless void is transformed into a vibrant living world teeming with wonders. We will see the stars ignited and the oceans filled, stars ignited, oceans filled. Then we will travel forward in time to the plains of Shinar. There we will stand in the shadow of the Tower of Babel, a monument to human ambition and unity, and witness the moment that changed the course of human communication forever. Human ambition, unity. These are stories that have echoed through the ages, and they still have much to tell us today. Imagine a time before time. Try to picture a state of being where nothing you can see, nothing you can touch, nothing you can hear. This is the starting point of our story. It is not the empty blackness of space as we know it. This is an emptiness that is absolute. There is no up or down, no left or right, there is no past, no present, no future. The universe is a formless, silent void. It is a deep, endless ocean of darkness without a shore, without a surface. The Bible describes this state as without form and void, a blank canvas waits for the first stroke of the master painter. Within this profound nothingness, a presence exists. Not a physical being but a powerful, conscious spirit. This is God. The Spirit of God moves over the dark, chaotic waters. Imagine a gentle but powerful wind gliding over a still black ocean stretching into infinity. This movement is the first hint of change, the first sign the stillness will be broken. A moment of pure potential, filled with silent, immense energy. Everything that will ever be, every star, every planet, every mountain, every living creature, is held within this moment, the quiet before the most magnificent symphony. The universe holds its breath. From the heart of the infinite darkness and silence, the first command is spoken. It is not a shout that echoes through a void, but a thought that becomes reality. Let there be light. The words are simple, yet they possess an unimaginable power. In an instant, the endless darkness is shattered. A brilliant, pure light floods the universe. God sees the light, he recognizes its quality. God saw that the light was good. This is not just a casual observation, it is a declaration of purpose and value. The light is not just a physical phenomenon, it is a symbol of order, truth, life itself. It is the first element of a good and ordered creation. With this new element, God creates the first rhythm of the universe. He separates the light from the darkness. He gives them names, identity and function. He calls the light day, he calls the darkness night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. The first great problem, darkness and formlessness, has been addressed. Light and order have entered the cosmos. The stage is now illuminated, ready for the next act of creation. On the second day, the creative work continues. The universe is still a watery, chaotic place, a mixture of liquid and vapor. To bring order here, God speaks another command. He calls for a space, an expanse, created in the middle of these waters, a barrier to separate one body of water from another, a vast dome. The firmament rises, pushing waters apart. Some water lifted high above, the rest remains below. And God called the firmament sky. This creates the atmosphere, breathable air, and the blue expanse we see when we look up. The water above becomes the source of rain. The water below becomes the oceans, seas, and lakes. There was evening, and there was morning, the second day. The formless void is being transformed into a structured cosmos, a home prepared for life. The third day dawns upon a world that is still completely covered by water. Below the newly formed sky lies a single planet-spanning ocean. God issues his next command, let the water under the sky be gathered to one place and let dry ground appear. In response, the world undergoes a massive geological transformation. He calls the dry ground land. He calls the gathered waters seas. And once again he pauses to observe his work. And God saw that it was good. With the land now in place, God speaks again. Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and trees bearing fruit with seed. Instantly, a miracle of green explodes across the barren land. This is not just life, but life that can sustain and reproduce itself. The plants bear seeds, the trees bear fruit with seeds inside, creation is designed with a future, and there was evening and there was morning, the third day. The planet is now dressed in green, a beautiful and living world. As the fourth day begins, the world is beautiful and vibrant, but the sky above is still incomplete. The light that illuminates the day and the darkness that defines the night come from an abstract divine source. Now God decides to place physical lights in the great expanse of the sky, to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. The sun's daily journey will mark the passing of each day. The moon's changing phases will mark the passing of months. The position of the stars will mark the passing of seasons and years. And God saw that it was good. The world is no longer just a living planet. It is part of a larger, magnificent solar system. The dawn of the fifth day reveals a world that is vibrant and alive, but also strangely silent and still. The lands are covered in green, but no creature walks upon them. The skies are bright, but no wings soar through them. The seas are vast, but no life swims within their depths. God now turns his creative attention to these empty realms. Let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth. The words are a call to life, and the world responds with an explosion of activity. The oceans are a living, breathing kingdom. The air, which was once silent, is now filled with the sound of beating wings and a symphony of birdsong. God looks upon the new creatures, and he sees that they are good. Then for the first time he gives a blessing to his creation. Be fruitful and increase in number. The fifth day ends with a world teeming with movement, sound, and the promise of abundance. So the sixth and final day of creation arrives. The world is already a masterpiece, but the land itself remains empty of moving life. Now God commands the earth to bring forth its own inhabitants. Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds. From the soil of the earth, new forms of life arise. The land is now filled with the sounds and movements of the animal kingdom. God observes this final addition to the animal world and sees that it too is good. But you know, the most important creative act is yet to come. Then, for the first time, God speaks as if in counsel with himself. Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness. God forms the first man from the dust of the ground. But then, God does something unique. He breathes into the man's nostrils the breath of life, and the man becomes a living soul. This new being, Adam, is given a special role. God gives him dominion over all the other living things, a sacred responsibility of stewardship, to care for the world God has made. Seeing that it is not good for the man to be alone, God creates a partner for him, Eve, formed from Adam's own side, signifying a deep and intimate connection. With the creation of humanity, God looks at everything he has made and he sees that it is very good. The sixth day ends and the work of creation is now complete. Many generations have passed since the dawn of creation and the great flood. Humanity has been given a second chance. A single family, Noah and his sons, their descendants began to multiply. All of humanity was truly one. They all spoke the same language. Imagine everyone understanding you perfectly, communication seamless. This unity fostered community and collective identity. The population grew and a great migration began. They found a place that seemed perfect, a wide flat plain in Shinar. Here they could plant crops that would feed thousands and build a settlement unlike any the world had ever seen. The land provided the perfect materials for building. The ground itself was full of thick, sticky clay. They learned to form it into uniform blocks and bake them in the sun. These were the first bricks. Settling in Shinar, the people began to build. With their shared language and cooperative spirit, their efforts were incredibly efficient. As the city grew, so did the people's confidence. They saw what they could accomplish when they worked together, and it filled them with a deep sense of pride. They said to each other, "Come, let us build ourselves a city, with a tower that reaches to the heavens." This was a declaration of a new and audacious goal. Born from a combination of pride and fear, they feared being scattered. The tower was their solution, a central point, a beacon, a physical anchor for their civilization. So, the grand project began. The entire society mobilized for the task. The sound of construction filled the air, a constant hum of activity that was the sound of their unified will being made real. The construction of the Tower of Babel was a marvel of project management and human collaboration. Because everyone spoke the same language, instructions could be given and understood with perfect clarity. As the tower grew taller, a subtle but dangerous change began to occur. Their initial motivation began to transform into something else. It became pure pride, an arrogance that bordered on defiance. The tower, meant to reach the heavens, was now seen as a way to reach into the heavens. They believed their own strength, their own technology, their own unity could carry them to God's realm. They no longer looked to God for security or identity, believing they could create both themselves. Their city, their tower, would be their salvation, built by their own hands. But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower that the children of man had built. God saw their unity, and he understood the immense power it gave them. He said, "If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them." This was not a statement of admiration, but one of concern. The intervention that was about to happen was not primarily a punishment, but a difficult and necessary act of correction. He would go down and confuse their language so they would not be able to understand each other. The divine intervention was instantaneous and baffling. A wave of confusion swept across the construction site. A simple request for water was met with a blank stare. The seamless communication that had been the engine of their progress dissolved into chaos. Panic and frustration quickly replaced the proud spirit of cooperation. People began to search for others who spoke as they did. The great, unified family of humanity fractured. The great city and its half-finished tower were abandoned. The project, once the symbol of their unity, was now a monument to their division. The different language groups began to move away from Shinar. They scattered in all directions, fulfilling the very fate they had feared. The city was called Babel, the legendary origin of the world's many peoples, cultures, and languages. From this single point of confusion, the diverse tapestry of human civilization began to be woven. As we step back from the breathtaking spectacle of the 6 days of creation and the dramatic fall of a unified people, we are left with more than just memorable stories. We are left with a profound sense of order and purpose, and a timeless warning. The creation story offers a vision of a world crafted with intention. It calls us to be responsible caretakers, stewards of a beautiful, fragile planet. The story of Babel explains our divisions. It serves as a warning against the pride that leads civilizations to believe they can replace God with their own power. And the declaration that humanity is made in the image of God provides a foundation for human dignity, challenging us to see the divine reflection in every person we meet. The echo of Babel resounds in our modern, globalized world. Technology has allowed us to start building a new kind of global tower. Yet, despite this connectivity, our world remains deeply divided. The story challenges us to seek a different kind of unity, not by erasing differences but by respecting them. Not to rebuild the tower but to learn how to build bridges. The challenge left by Babel is to find harmony in our diversity, celebrating the rich variety of the human family. In the end, what is the enduring legacy of these ancient stories? They speak to the deepest, most universal aspects of the human condition. They are not just old events, they are stories about us. They are the prologue to the human story, a story of our potential for goodness and our tendency toward pride. The journey through Genesis is a journey into what it means to be human. They still speak because their questions are our questions, and the story they tell is in many ways our own.